Greetings to you folks. Welcome to the Medina Courthouse. We don't get many visitors here, and I just like
They haven't come to visit. They've come to hear our story. The story of Robert and Rachel Whip. How in 1878 I was wrongly convicted of attempting to murder you.
wrongly. She and her brother and her boyfriend tried to murder me less than 3 weeks after our marriage.
Because that described him as grasping, avaricious, and ignorant, but said that I was pleasant and agreeable.
And also possessing an undercurrent of subterfuge.
Why don't we each tell our story and let the guests decide for themselves who suffered?
One of the more sensible ideas you've had, Rachel. Beginning then, Lancastershire, England, where I was born, was a fair place. But when I was only 25, a plague struck my cabin, and I was forced to sell everything and move to the fair shores of America. I wasn't meant to live in big cities like New York or Cleveland, so I found myself a place as a hired hand in Brunswick. It wasn't long before I was back on my feet, by God, with 2,000 acres of land in Hinckley Township, an estate worth $100,000. I married the widow Mehitable and moved into her house. Poor Eddie. She died when I was only 54. Well, let me tell you, land and money are poor company.
You noticed that he mentioned poor old Itty last.
Get on with it, Rachel.
I was a teacher, a young widowed only 22 when Robert came courting. My mama, Mrs. Hannah Spencer, was his housekeeper. How I miss my Amandus. My first husband, Amanda Scooter, died of consumption when we'd been married less than 2 years.
Rachel was a beautiful woman, a fine woman, with lots of spirit.
My mama thought that he'd be a fair catch and spoke no evil against him.
I swear, I didn't even look at her until well after my wife died, though some people thought otherwise.
Many people thought that I married him for his money, and maybe I did. But when Robert came courting, he had other intentions, as I soon found out. Twice, he stood me up at the altar. That should put me wise to his true nature. But as I was in a delicate condition, I insisted that he do the honorable thing.
She threatened to shoot me if I didn't marry her.
It was a beautiful wedding at the American House Hotel. But he was a mean old devil. Why, he slept out with the field hands and spoke divorce before the ink could even dry in our marriage license.
I'm telling you, she was a treacherous woman. Tried to chloroform me, she did, along with her brother Lon and that Alfred Taylor. I heard her talking to them when they sneaked into my house at midnight with a rope to make it look as though I'd hung myself. But I beat them off and ran to the neighbors.
How could you see? It was midnight, not a candle burning. My brother and Alfred were praying, and I was awakened by the intruders' voices. And after I jumped out of bed, I escaped. But they tried to murder Robert. I think they were after his money.
You were the only one after my money. Let me tell you, folks, she stood to gain an estate worth over $100,000 if I died. The rope was yours.
I bought it to hang cream in the well for cooling.
I was the only thing you wanted to hang. People even testified they heard us say she married me for my money.
He paid off the courts. I had to bear my son, his son, in prison. Other people felt sure that the whole story was a charade, that he could rid himself of me. The only thing that I was guilty of was trying to find happiness.
Was the child truly mine?
You knew it was.
Did I? Did I? And I ask you, good people, who suffered injustice? Rachel and her brother served for 1 year of a 7-year sentence. And then she was off with her boyfriend.
He never asked to see his child, not once. And why shouldn't I leave? He divorced me. That is our story as it is written. But we shall leave you wondering. Did I tell you true? Or did Robert?
Good day and thank you for coming.